Okay. Hey. Uh, so, it's been a minute since I've done this, and I guess when I spoke to you guys last, I wasn't doing very well, and there was a lot of reasons for that. I'm sure you can guess some of the reasons, but there was many more reasons than the ones that you could probably guess. But I am happy to say that I've actually been doing really, really well lately. And there's been quite a few changes in my life that have happened just in the last 2 months. I'll point out one of the obvious ones, I guess. I'm in a different room, as you can see, and that is because I actually moved home, and I'll get into that in just a second. But first of all, I think it's important that I explain just where I was at before all of this, before the social media break, before other breaks and things, if you know what I mean. Um, yeah, man, I was in such a bitter place. I think that I lived a lot of my life just in this bitter place. You know, in terms of like music, it was, it, so I think there's a certain mentality for music that is important. You need to be driven, and you need to like know when to work hard and when to give your all to it. And I think for me personally, it was to a point where it was unhealthy because I was basically spending 8 hours at work, and then I would come home in Nashville and work on music until I couldn't work anymore and I'd go back to sleep. And, then I'd, be releasing these songs and they wouldn't do as well as I wanted them to do. And so, I would get angry about it and I'd be like, why am I not doing good enough? I suck. This just like self hatred towards myself. And it was just all bitterness. So I'm just gonna pop in here for a second. I think what I was trying to say, and I feel like maybe didn't get across well enough, but what I was trying to say was that the reason that music was kind of unhealthy for me was like, because my primary driving force was the self hatred and the wanting to prove that I'm good enough and all that stuff, it put me in this unthankful mindset. And yeah, I think that's what I was trying to say, and I feel like maybe I didn't quite say it good enough, and so I just wanted to clarify. Anyways, and I think even like just in day-to-day life, like I was just talking to someone the other day about how like before, I don't think I ever realized that the good times were passing me by. And this is a whole nother conversation, but like you say you hate something until it just passes you by, and then you look back on it fondly, but you look back on it and you're like, why did I hate it so much at that time in my life? I think like with anything that you do that's a little bit of work, you're going to have some sort of dislike towards it, but I think that I let the dislike towards things kind of take precedence over the good things, the good things that came out of whatever said thing was. So yeah, I was just in a bitter place. Yeah, so now I guess now I'll get into like why I'm back home now. Over those last couple weeks of being on social media and just like pressing into God, and even before that I was pressing into God. I was praying about it, and I just felt some sort of calling towards maybe moving back home. And so I was exploring that to see if it was right, because I was in a painful spot. So I thought maybe this is just me like saying you need to give yourself a break. Maybe this isn't God, yada yada yada. So anyways, I was praying about it, and I was just like, after I took that break off social media, I booked myself a plane ticket home, pretty much right away, and the next week I went home. And by the end of the week, I just felt an enormous amount of faith to move back home. And on top of that, I had ran into a few people that I didn't know and some that I did know that were doing this discipleship program through my church. And it's like a worship discipleship program. And I had never really felt like God was calling me to it. But there was just so many little random doors opening towards this program that just allowed me to like know that it was right. So I applied for the program. I still was not like really like convinced that it was what God wanted me to do. But it just seemed like everything kind of lined up for me to do that program. So all that being said, in the course of this year, like the next 9 months, I'll be doing like a music, worship, discipleship kind of program, and that should be good. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been up to. I'm sorry if this was a little long, and if you didn't watch it all, then you're not seeing this, so it doesn't matter. Um, what else? Yeah, music. So I'm not completely sure that I'm gonna be doing music. I have so much stuff that I could release right now, and I'm just praying about it to see if it's right, to see if it's wrong, whatever. Covers, again, not sure if I'm doing it. I'm really busy with school, but I'm gonna be praying about it, and we'll see what happens. And if I post a cover next week, then you'll know that I felt like it was right, and if I don't, then you know that I didn't feel like it was right. So yeah, other than any of that stuff, I've been doing well. For the first time in a long time, I really feel whole, and it's good. It's a good feeling. I guess this has just kind of been a long way of saying I've been doing pretty good. So yeah, I guess I don't really have anything else to say. So we're gonna end this right now. Okay, just gonna pop in here for a second again, because I feel like maybe I came across a little bit fake there. There are still things that I'm struggling with. I'm not always like 100% positive about everything. But I do feel like I've kind of graduated from that toxic mindset of like always looking at the bad side of things, to kind of looking at things from a new lens, because there's just been so much good that's come out of this season of my life. And I think before I would have looked at all the bad things that have happened and just been like, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, whatever. Yeah, I think that God's just kind of given me like a renewed sense of thankfulness for this season of my life. And so that's kind of what I was trying to get across. And I feel like I really didn't kind of like pinpoint that enough. So I just felt like the need to clarify.